Introduction. India's struggle for freedom was one of the most significant events in the country's history. It was a long and arduous journey that spanned several decades and involved the participation of millions of Indians. In this video, we will explore the history of India's fight for independence and how it finally achieved freedom from British rule. Part 1. British rule in India. India was ruled by the British for over 200 years. The British East India Company arrived in India in the 17th century and gradually gained control of the country's trade and resources. By the 19th century, the British had established complete political control over India, and the country became known as the "jewel in the crown" of the British Empire. Part 2. The beginning of the freedom struggle. The first signs of India's freedom struggle appeared in the 19th century. Indian intellectuals and leaders like Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Swami Vivekananda, and Mahatma Gandhi began to speak out against British rule and advocate for India's independence. They started social and political movements that aimed to raise awareness about India's problems and challenge British policies. Part 3. The Non-Cooperation Movement. In 1920, Mahatma Gandhi launched the Non-Cooperation Movement, which called on Indians to boycott British goods and institutions. The movement gained widespread support, and millions of Indians participated in protests and demonstrations. However, the movement was called off after a violent incident in Chauri Chaura, Uttar Pradesh, where a group of protesters set fire to a police station and killed several policemen. Part 4. The Civil Disobedience Movement. The Civil Disobedience Movement was launched in 1930, and it was the most significant movement in India's struggle for independence. Mahatma Gandhi led the movement and called on Indians to disobey British laws and pay taxes. The movement included the Salt Satyagraha, where Gandhi and his followers marched to the Arabian Sea to make salt, which was illegal under British law. Part 5. World War II and the Quit India Movement. During World War II, India was dragged into the conflict without its consent. The British government's decision to involve India in the war without consulting its leaders angered many Indians. In 1942, Mahatma Gandhi launched the Quit India movement, which called on the British to leave India immediately. The movement was met with a violent crackdown by the British, and many Indian leaders were arrested. Part 6. India's independence and partition. After years of struggle and sacrifice, India finally achieved independence on August 15, 1947. However, the country was divided into two nations, India and Pakistan, due to religious differences between Hindus and Muslims. The partition of India resulted in the displacement of millions of people and led to communal violence. Conclusion. India's struggle for independence was a long and challenging journey that involved the participation of millions of Indians. The country's freedom fighters and leaders, including Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Patel, and others, played a crucial role in India's independence movement. The legacy of India's freedom struggle remains an essential part of the country's history and identity.